In ancient Israel, the Israelites were suffering under the oppression of the Midianites. The Midianites would invade their land, destroy their crops, and steal their livestock, leaving the Israelites impoverished and desperate. It was during this time that God chose a humble man named Gideon to deliver his people. One day, Gideon was secretly threshing wheat in a winepress to hide it from the Midianites when an angel of the Lord appeared to him. The angel greeted him, saying, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Surprised and doubtful, Gideon questioned how he could save Israel, as he belonged to the weakest clan in Manasseh and was the least in his family. But the Lord reassured him, saying, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive." To confirm that it was truly God's will, Gideon asked for a sign. He placed a fleece on the ground and asked God to make the fleece wet with dew while keeping the ground dry. God did so, and the next morning, Gideon found the fleece soaking wet while the ground was dry. Still uncertain, Gideon asked for another sign. This time, he asked that the fleece remain dry while the ground around it was wet with dew. Again, God granted his request. With renewed faith, Gideon gathered an army of 32,000 men, but God told Gideon that the army was too large, as he wanted Israel to know that their victory was by his hand, not their own strength. So, Gideon announced that anyone who was afraid could leave, and 22,000 men departed. God then further reduced the number by instructing Gideon to take the men down to the water and observe how they drank. Only 300 men lapped the water with their hands to their mouths, and these were the men God chose to accompany Gideon. Armed with trumpets, empty jars, and torches inside the jars, Gideon's small army approached the Midianite camp at night. Following God's instructions, they surrounded the camp, blew their trumpets, smashed the jars, and shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." The noise and confusion caused the Midianites to turn on each other in panic, leading to their defeat. Through Gideon's obedience and God's power, Israel was delivered from the oppression of the Midianites, and the land had peace for 40 years during Gideon's lifetime. This story of faith, courage, and divine intervention reminds us that with God, even the smallest and weakest can achieve great things.